What's up, guys? Josh Lau here with TheCardGuyz, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my deck techs for Dorinthea going into the RTN season with the heavy hitters card updates. I'm going to be bringing you guys two different lists. We're going to start off with a Dawnblade focus deck, and then we're going to be moving on to a Switch style deck. So let's just get into it. For those of you guys that just want the deck list, don't want the explanation, here you go. But for those of you who want to understand why I picked certain things, well, let's jump into it. All right, the first thing that we need to talk about is the equipment updates. So Grains of Blood Spill, this has now become my, not weapon of choice, but my armor of choice for the chest slot. This list does not include Courage of Bladehold. This list does not include Tunic. So that does change a little bit about how we construct the deck. But I think Grains of Bloodspill pretty much is worth foregoing Courage and Tunic at the moment. At the baseline, you get an extra block out of this because Courage you generally will pop after you've blocked with it once. Whereas you will never die as Dory with Grains still on the board if you're playing it correctly. And Grains basically creates a situation where you can snowball out of control. And that's kind of the focus of this deck. This deck is a very, very snowball-y focused. And basically putting the opponents into a spot where if they don't block, we can always create some Vigor tokens. Or if we do need to block, we can still get a very, very valuable one card hand by just swinging Dawnblade and presenting an on hit, basically. On hit, we'll gain a resource for the next turn. So I've been having good success with this, and I think this is a pretty important card. And of note, it does say whenever a weapon you attack control, whenever a weapon attack you control hits. So if you need to clear dragons, that is fine. You can still get your Vigor token. Okay, let's jump into the main deck, and you will see a lot of familiar faces here. In terms of heavy hitters upgrades, we are playing the playset of Blade Flurry. 0 cost attack react that gives +2 to the first attack and +2 to the next weapon attack. This is really, really good for a multitude of reasons. Not only does it help your first attack hit, it also helps your second attack hit, and it is good with cards such as this one here, Shift the Tide of Battle. So we're looking for, in this list, we're running Blade Flurry, Iron Song Response, Puncture, Route, and Yellow Overpower as our main attack reactions. Obviously, we could tutor for any of them with Singing Steelblade. But in the sideboard, if we do need a little bit of extra punch, we have Agile, Engagement, and Overpower. But in general, we're actually not running that many attack reacts, and I don't really think you need to. You just have to have it, a good portion of the time. And cards such as Iron Song Determination kind of mean that with certain hands, you don't need to have an attack react because this gives you evasion. So yeah, Blade Flurry is a new card here. I guess I should talk about why I'm running 3x Determination, because this is actually a card that sometimes I'm on 0 of. So basically, this list is trying to snowball, and there are several punishments for our opponents just letting us get a counter. So Iron Song Determination is one of them. Singing Steelblade and Twinning Blade are the 3 punishments for them just letting us get a counter and then trying to deal with it down the road. Iron Song Determination combines nicely with things like Sharpened Steel and combines well with Shift the Tide of Battle. Also combines well once we have a counter. This also chews up the opponent's armor. So 2 of the matchups where we do need to or several, I guess there's many matchups now. Mech, Brute, and Guardian all have a lot of armor that we need to get through, and this helps us get through some of that armor. And then that's also why we're running 3x Puncture here, because armor users are heavily represented in the metagame. So that's why we're on 3x Puncture. The rest, pretty standard stuff. We're running a single copy of Ironsong Pride just to keep people on their toes. We don't want to have multiples because we don't want to draw two of them at the same time. But, you know, a +1 bump often is enough to ensure the hit. Got a single copy of Biting Blade. This is my pet card here. Combines well with Singing Steelblade to give you +5 if you have Reprise. And I think it's pretty important to have a 2-costed attack react other than Route, because sometimes that's just the way the energy lines up. You can go Valor, Swing, Singing Steelblade, Biting Blade, Swing, and that's a clean 6 resources there. The rest is pretty standard here. Running yellow Overpower here just because we could pitch it and then we'll have a target for Singing Steelblade if we need to grab something, or if we don't have a Biting Blade, basically, we could grab Overpower as well. Shift the Tide of Battle. This is a card that I think felt good in about 2 ofs. It's very, very easy for us to have power higher than its base. Obviously, any of the pumps work. Sharpened Steel works. You know, Supremacy works. The only cards it doesn't really combine well with are Spoils and Valor and Glistening, I guess. But if you have those, you would probably just Arsenal one of them. Other than that, pretty standard stuff. We got 2 copies of Goblet of Blood Run Wine. This is just kind of a upgrade to the Driving Blades that used to occupy this spot. In the sideboard here, we got some defensive options here. So because we don't have Tunic and we don't have Shunt, I've opted to go with a couple of Fate for Scenes to supplement the Sink Belows, just to give us a little higher density of D-Reacts in the matchups that we need them. So we have 3 Sink, 2 Fate for defensive matchups. We got the Null Rune Hood for, I guess Kano would be the prominent one there. We got 4 poppers here. We got 2 CNC, a Down and Dirty, and a Nourishing. You could bring in the Nourishing if you want by itself, and then in matchups where we need the poppers, we would bring in the Nourishing, Down and Dirty, and Command and Conquer. We got, like I said before, we got a little bit of extra oomph. We got a copy of Agile Engagement. So this is very good with Singing Steelblade against decks that will give us this agility token, basically. And then we got a couple copies of Red Overpower because sometimes we need to bring in the big guns. Got 2 copies of Commanding Performance. This card has been performing pretty well, but I think 2 copies is kind of the sweet spot here. Basically, you want to pair it with any threat, and it kind of puts them in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. This also destroys a D-React before they can play it out if they block with attack action cards from hand. So yeah, that's basically the list here. The ratios for the deck, we're running 21 blues, and we'll see that in the next deck tech, or in the part 2 here, we're actually running the same blue energy base pretty much, except we swapped the Emboldened Blades out for something. I currently think that this is kind of the best energy setup here, because we have all the go agains in Glint, Hit and Run, Precision Press, Warriors Valor. We have a couple of extra go agains from Goblet. We got, you know, the utility blues like Iron Saga Swans and Overpower, and then we have a couple Emboldened Blades just to well, clever opponents are going to, if they see you pitching Emboldened Blade or even playing Emboldened Blade, they might adjust how they arsenal or how they play the game. It makes them uncomfortable, basically. And we got a copy of Heart of Fendel as well, because Dorinthea is one of the best characters for manipulating the life total. If you don't have this, just add an Emboldened Blade, add a Goblet, add an Epot. There's many there's many replacements for that. Don't feel like you have to have that card, but I do think a lot of warrior games do come down to one life. So being able to gain a life at a critical point is quite important. Okay, so that is the first list here. Again, I think that Heavy Hitters has given Dorinthea some upgrades. We aren't including a ton of new cards. I'd say we got 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 out of 80 cards being new. I guess Grains is 11, right? So it is the same Dory that you know and love, just a little bit more aggressive now. Like I said, Iron Song Determination here, pretty key. I feel like a lot of people are going to be giving you the first Dawnblade counter, especially if they don't have a D-React, and then they're going to try to deny the second or third counter. And cards like Determination, Singing Steel Blade, and Twinning Blade really do prevent them from doing that play pattern. The deck has a good amount of go-agains as well because of the Shift the Tide of Battle has replaced Run Through. And yeah, this deck feels pretty smooth. And I think you guys would have some good success with this. This deck list may change, as I play this more, but I think this is a good starting baseline for Dorinthea. All right, let's move on to the second list. All right, guys, here's the second list here. So this is a Switch style Dory, and this is a list that basically incorporates Dawnblade, but also has the ability to play Centauri Saber Hot Streak. So let's look first at the core of the deck, though. So this is what we would be playing in both styles here. We have the Grains that's returning, but this time we have Iron Song Versus. Iron Song Versus is a little bit stronger in dual wielding, and is a little bit more of a catch-all for that. Also, this creates some awkward. Once we have some awkward breakpoints with Iron Song Pride, or even if we don't have awkward breakpoints, if we're just coming in for 2 with on-hit Courage, that creates some blocking inefficiencies from our opponent. So that's the equipment we're running. We're still running, the standard attack reactions, Blade Flurry, and Iron Song response. But this time we're running Iron Song Pride as a pseudo attack reaction. This pairs very nicely with Dawnblade and the dual wield, because if either one of the swords hits, the counters will stay. And both of these swords are uniquely annoying in their own way. Centauri Saber with the +1 counter becomes 3 or 4. Hot Streak becomes 3, possible go again. And they're just really, really, really annoying once they have a counter on them. We see the usual suspects like Spoils of War and Supremacy back here again. The same yellow overpower here. The energy base, like I said, is exactly the same, except we traded out the Emboldened Blades for Agile Windup. We have a playset of Run Through here because this helps us. We need Blade Runner effects, but we need Blade Runner effects that affect Dawnblade and the dual wield. The 2 Shift the Tide of Battles, Singing Steel Blade and Twinning Blade, all return here in the yellow slot. And yeah, so let's take a look at the sideboard here, because this is where most of the action happens here. So the main deck is 52 cards, so we basically add 8 cards. So if we're playing the Saber Hot Streak, we would bring in the Blade Runners, we would bring in the yellow hit and runs, and we would bring in Take It on the Chin. The agility token is really, really, really easy for a dual wield warrior to use. And if you have, just this card's really, really good value in the dual wield style. So those would be the 8 cards we bring in. If we're playing Dawnblade, we bring in the Punctures, the Valors, and the Glistening Steel Blade. And then if we need to, in either style, we can supplement it with Sink Blow. Obviously, our choice of boots would change depending on our weapon. We'd run Dynamos with dual wield. We'd run Bolters with the Dawnblade. And then, we have a choice of helmet depending on the if we need Arcane Barrier or not. So the advantages of playing this style is that you have access to two styles. You're a little bit more unpredictable. Matchups where I would run this Saber Hot Streak. Matchups where you're likely to get more value out of the abilities of Saber and Hot Streak. So this is like Guardian, possibly Mech. Depends on... you might be able to get some good value against ninjas as well. Value Dynamo is pretty important against ninjas. Yeah, that's kind of where I would start. But you could try it out. There's lots of different... I haven't solidified which matchups I think is better for Dawnblade or what better for the Hot Streak Saber, but the deck plays pretty smoothly here. So the differences here is that we don't have access to Iron Song Determination, so we're a little bit more reliant on cheeky plays with Hit and Run in our Dawnblade deck. So one of the best ways to blow them out is having an agility token at the start of the turn, or just, you know, playing Spoils of War to start, Twitting Blade, and then Hit and Run, and then swing. That would, you know, be pretty good. So Hit and Run is kind of operating as extra copies of attack reactions, basically, because paired with Twitting Blade, you can really blow them out if they defend incorrectly. The other thing that we're missing here is that we don't have Sharpened Steel as well. That there's just no room for that. And yeah, other than that, we've carried over quite a bit. We don't have access to the red overpowers, but in the matchups where we think they have D-Reacts, I would recommend, as a baseline, if they have D-Reacts, I'd run the Saber Hot Streak. If they don't have D-Reacts, I think Dawnblade would probably be better. So yeah, that's this is a very, very experimental list, but this is a I think you could try this out and you know, see how it goes. This is a list that I'll probably be playing on stream soonish, because it is quite fun, and I think there could be a couple iterations to make this better. But right now, it is actually pretty cool that a Dorinthea list can actually support two styles pretty close to optimal. Obviously you're losing a little bit of tech cards that the pure Dawnblade would have, but you know, the unpredictability is quite important for Dorinthea. All right, so there you go. 2 deck list for the upcoming RTN season for Dorinthea, with the heavy hitters cards supplemented there. If you are looking for a Hatchets or Great Axe build, you won't find it here, unfortunately. I am of the belief that Dawnblade and dual wielding these swords is a little bit better, or at least the way that the game designers intended Dorinthea to be played. Okay, so yep, those are the lists. They're in the description down below. All right, this has been Josh Lau with TheCardGuyz. I'm getting out of here. See ya. Take care.